And when you were first getting started, as you're kind of starting with the grant proposal and moving into doing this yourself, what kind of tools did you need to have? And by tools, I mean, literally tools, also maybe information, etc., that a group that was considering doing this would need to think about if they were going to go down this road.
First of all, I had a background in enforcement. I had been chief of enforcement for the state agency, so I wasn't starting from scratch.
That might be hard to replicate.
It might be, but I have now worked with enough groups that I have shown people how they can do it, and how there are lawyers willing to do it on contingency for part of the winnings and so forth. Tools, you need a car. Mm-hmm. You need preferably a GPS where you can measure not only how to get there, but you can measure acreage if you can walk around the site. There are other ways to measure acreage. But primarily learn how to read a permit, how to go gather the documents that explain what was supposed to have been done, and maybe even before that, how do you find potential sites? Mm-hmm. Get a list of permits issued in a certain year. Some of this is on the internet from both the Corps and the state. And each state or region might have a different system of keeping records, but learn the system. Find a friendly person in an agency. Often the Fish and Wildlife Agency is a more friendly source. Find a university that's done a study like this. They're out there. But once you get in the field, you need some boots where you can walk in water. There may not be water, but GPS, like I said, to measure area, maybe a rangefinder to measure distance, and mostly just look at the big picture. You get there, and does it look like it might be a wetland, or does it look like it might be a parking lot?
And if it's a parking lot, that's a sure data point for you.
Yes, and one of the things I found also is to look at old permits. So I'm looking at permits. I just won a case, for example, last winter we settled for a settlement package of over $500,000 for a permit originally issued in 1992. So you want a permit that's old enough that it has had time to be completed and fail. Sometimes it was never done, or sometimes it was done, and then 5 years go by and nobody says anything. Someone buys some land, they never put the deed restriction, they bulldoze it and put a shopping center on what was supposed to be a mitigation site. That doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen.